Chapter 18. I shouldered Abraham's gun, ignoring Megan's soft curse. I trotted out from behind the boxes before she could restrain me, and at the last moment I remembered to pop the earpiece out of my ear and stow it. As I left the shadows, Night Wielder's soldiers trained guns on me with quick motions. I felt a spike of anxiety, the prickling sensation of defenselessness. I hate it when people point guns at me, though I guess that makes me pretty much like everyone else. I continued on. "Boss," I called, patting the weapon. "I got it working. Magazine comes out easily now." Night Wielder's shoulders glanced toward him, as if looking for permission to shoot. The epic clasped his hands behind his back, studying me with ethereal eyes. He didn't seem to notice, but his elbow brushed the wall and passed right through the solid steel. He studied me, but remained motionless. The goons didn't shoot. Good sign. "Come on, Diamond," I thought, trying to contain my nervousness. "Don't be an idiot. Say something." "Was it the release pin?" Diamond asked. "No, sir," I said. The magazine was bent slightly on one side. I gave a respectful nod to Night Wielder and his flunkies, then moved over to set the gun in the spot on the wall. It fit, fortunately. I'd guessed it would, considering it was close to the same size as the Gauss gun. "Well, Diamond," Night Wielder's female attendant said, "perhaps you can tell us of this new edition. It looks like it—" "No," Night Wielder said softly. "I will hear it from the boy." I froze, then turned around, nervous. "Sir?" "Tell me about this gun," Night Wielder said. "The boy's a new hire," Diamond said. "He doesn't—" "It's all right, boss," I said. "That's a Manchester 451. The weapon is a powerhouse, 50 caliber with electron-compressed magazines. Each holds 800 rounds. The Select Fire system supports single-shot, burst, and full auto capabilities. It has gravitronic recoil reduction for shoulder firing, with optional advanced magnitude scope, including audio receiving, range finding, and a remote firing mechanism. It also includes the optional grenade launcher. Equipped rounds are armor-piercing incendiary, sir. You can ask for a better gun." Night Wielder nodded. "And this?" he said, pointing to the gun next to it. My palms were sweating. I shoved them in my pockets. Yes, I knew. Browning M3919, sir. An inferior gun, but very good for the price. Also 50 caliber, but without recoil suppression, the gravitronics, or the electron compression. It is excellent as a mounted weapon. With the advanced heat sinks on the barrel, it can fire around 800 rounds per minute. Over a mile effective range with remarkable accuracy. The corridor fell still. Night Wielder regarded the gun, then turned to his minions and made a curt gesture. That nearly made me jump with alarm, but the others seemed to relax. I'd passed Night Wielder's test, apparently. "We will want to see the Manchester," the woman said. "This is exactly what we are looking for. You should have mentioned it earlier." "I was embarrassed about the magazine sticking," Diamond said. "It's a known problem with Manchesters, I'm afraid. Every gun has its quirks. I've heard that if you file down one of the top edges of the magazine, it slides much more easily. Here, let me get that back down for you." The conversation continued, but I was forgotten. I was able to step back to where I wouldn't be in the way. Should I try to slip away, I wondered? It would seem suspicious if I went to the back of the hallway again, wouldn't it? Sparks. It looks like they were going to buy Abraham's gun. I hoped he'd forgive me for that. If Abraham and Megan got out through the hole, I could just wait here until Night Wielder left, then meet up with them. Staying put seemed like the best move for the moment. I found myself staring at Night Wielder's back as his minions continued negotiations. I was, 3 steps away from him? One of Steelheart's 3 most trusted, most powerful living epics. He was right there, and I couldn't touch him. Well, I couldn't touch him literally, since he was incorporeal, but I meant figuratively, too. That was the way it had always been, ever since Calamity appeared. So few dared resist the epics. I'd watched children be murdered in front of their parents, with nobody brave enough to lift a hand to stop it. Why would they try? They'd just be killed. He did it to me, too, to an extent. I was here with him, but all I wanted to do was escape. You make us all selfish, I thought at Night Wielder. That's why I hate you. All of you. But Steelheart most of all. Could use some better forensic tools, Night Wielder's female minion said. I realize it's not your specialty. I always bring some along to New Cago, Diamond replied. Just for you. Here, let me show you what I have. I blinked. They were done with the conversation about the Manchester, and apparently they'd bought it, and ordered a shipment of 300 more from Diamond, who'd happily made the sale even though this one wasn't his to sell. Forensics, I thought. Something about that itched at my memory. Diamond waddled over to rummage under his desk for a few boxes. He noticed me and waved me away. You can go back to the stockpile and continue your inventory, kid. I don't need you here any longer. I should probably have done as he said, but I did something stupid instead. I'm almost finished with that, boss, I said. I'd like to stay if I can. I still don't know a lot about the forensic equipment. He stopped, studying me, and I tried my best to look innocent, hands stuffed in the pockets of my jacket. A little voice in my head was muttering, "You are so stupid, you are so stupid, you are so stupid." But when was I going to get a chance like this again? Forensic equipment would include the kinds of things one used for studying a crime scene, and I knew a little bit more about that sort of thing than I just implied to Diamond. I'd read about it, at least. And I remembered that you could find DNA and fingerprints by shining UV light on them. UV light, the very thing my notes claimed was Night Wielder's weakness. Fine, Diamond went back to rummaging. Just stay out of the Great One's way. I took a few steps back and kept my eyes down. Night Wielder paid me no heed, and his minions stood with arms crossed as Diamond got out an array of boxes. He began asking what they needed, and I could soon tell from their responses that someone in the New Cago government, Night Wielder, maybe Steelheart himself, was troubled by Fortuity's assassination. They wanted equipment to detect epochs. Diamond didn't have such a thing. He said he'd heard of some for sale in Denver, but it had turned out to be only a rumor. It appeared that dowsers like the Reckoners had weren't easy to come by, even for someone like Diamond. They also wanted equipment to better determine the origins of bullet shells and explosives. This request he could accommodate, particularly tracking down explosives. He unpacked several devices from their styrofoam and cardboard, then showed a scanner that identified the chemicals in an explosive by analyzing the ash produced. I waited, tense, as one of the minions picked up something that looked like a metal briefcase with locks on the sides. She flipped it open, revealing a bunch of smaller devices situated in foam holes. That looked like just the kind of forensics kits that I'd read about. A small data chip was attached to the top, glowing faintly now that the case was open. That would be the manual. The minion waved her mobile in front of it absently, downloading the instructions. I stepped over and did likewise, though she glanced at me, she soon dismissed me and turned back to her inspection. My heart beating more quickly, I scanned through the manual's contents until I found it. UV fingerprint scanner with attached video camera. I skimmed the instructions. Now, if I could just get it out of the case. The woman took out a device and inspected it. It wasn't the fingerprint scanner, so I didn't pay attention. I snatched that scanner the second she looked away, and then I pretended to just be fiddling with it, trying my best to look idly curious. In the process, I got it turned on. It glowed blue at the front and had a screen on the back. It worked like a digital camcorder, but with a UV light on the front. You shined the light over objects and recorded images of what that revealed. That would be handy if doing a sweep of a room for DNA. It would give you a record of what you'd seen. I turned on the record function. What I was about to do could easily get me killed. I'd seen men murdered for far less. But I knew Tia wanted stronger proof. It was time to get her some. I turned the UV light and shined it on Night Wielder.